First one, this one comes from ChromatiK. So this is a Water Diana deck list going into a Diana Moonpiercer. Something of note here is, just in case anyone hasn't read Diana Moonpiercer, which is the level 3 for Diana, whenever Diana becomes distant, choose one of the following. Negate each card activation that targets Diana unless its controller pays 2. Then if Diana is defending in the combat phase, unless the attacking player pays 2. Or glimpse 2. I bring this up because I took a quick peek at this deck list. It does have a lot of very interesting synergies. But let's start with the material deck. Classic water into triple Diana. Backup charger, flash grenade. Flash grenade's pretty common. Quite a good card for Diana and Rangers in general. Quicksilver Grail, which I did find a little interesting, but we'll talk about some of the synergies with that going forward. Ranger Boots. Ranger Boots, on enter, draw a card. It's hindered. Class bonus, banish it, tap it, banish it, and your champion becomes distant. Another enabler for Diana. Seeker's Aether Wing. So this is one of the norm element, 0 cost Aether Wing. It's got Spell Shroud, it's got True Sight. Not too shabby, not too shabby. Something of note here is Diana's level 1 is on enter. If Diana's distant, materialize an Aether Wing card from your material deck. So you'll see some consistencies and some synergies with being with being distant. Yeah, Water Diana indeed. Then probably one of my favorite Aether Wing, probably everyone's favorite Aether Wing, Aqua Mirage Whisper. Spell Shroud naturally doesn't need class bonus. Class bonus on hit, glimpse 1 plus X, where X is the amount of damage dealt by this hit. Then put the top card of your deck into your graveyard. I think this is one of the more powerful weapons and ranger weapons out there. I don't think very many people will contest that. Like, sure, Shadow's Twin's probably pretty good. And then we've got Radiant Vega. Radiant Vega, which is the UR from the newest set DTR. Diana bonus, pay 2, rest it. Remove 2 durability counters from Radiant Vega. Negate target card activation unless its controller pays X, where X is the amount of Aether Charge cards loaded into Radiant Vega. Activate this ability only if your champion is distant. And then Ranger Strides. I keep wanting to say Striders. 1 cost, on enter, draw a card, replaces itself. Banish Ranger Strides. Target Ranger unit gets ranged 4 until end of turn. So Radiant Vega, Ranger Strides, pretty decent Quicksilver Grail targets. Flash Grenade, an additional good Quicksilver Grail target. Those are probably the 3 that you're going to put under there most often. You could also put Ranger Boots under there just to kind of cheat them out in step so that you can get around the hindered portion of this. I can't imagine it'll be super frequent unless you have difficulty getting distant. Ranger Feet, Keck W, true. What's up, Wild Crazy Eyes? How are you? Now let's take a quick peek here. We're going to do a little bit of counting to try and see how many cards for distant there are, how many like Aether Wings with Aether Calling we get, and kind of look at some of the interactions here. So we've got 4 Etheric Calibration, glimpse 4, then reveal the top card of your deck. If it's an Aether Charge card, put it into your memory. You may load Etheric Calibration into the Aether Wing weapon you control. Okay, not bad. Glimpse 4 sometimes replaces itself. Let's kind of break this card down first. So it's basically looking for an Aether Charge card. So outside of itself, including itself, we have 4 targets here. Let's kind of go down here, see what others we have. We have 4 here, so that's 8. 2 here, so that's 12. We've got 4 here, so 16. 4 here, 20. 2, 4, and 3. So 20. We've got like approximately 30. So calibration can hit pretty frequently when glimpsing 4 and revealing an Aether Charge off the top of your deck. So I'd say that you're hitting very frequently. So card's pretty good in this deck list for the most part. It's frequently replacing itself and it's adding +1 damage to your next attack. Not bad. And it's additionally setting up maybe some of your following draws after that, potentially. Um, this is a hard one. Alacritus Huntress. Range 2. On enter, reveal up to one Aether Charge card from your hand. You may discard it or load it into your Aetherwing weapon you control. If you do, draw a card. So it's a 3-cost 2/2 range 2 that automatically comes in and frequently replaces itself. We saw that there's approximately 30 Aether Charge in the deck. So more times than not, you will be able to have it replace itself. It draws into hand notably and not into memory, which is really nice. A 2/2 body's pretty mediocre, to be completely candid, but a 2/2 that replaces itself, not bad. So we have 3 copies of that. 2 copies of Backstep. Backstep, pretty traditional. 2-cost fast speed, draw a card, unit becomes distant. Maybe one of the most ideal ways to transition into level 1 Diana, because you'll get that on-enter bonus. While we're talking about the on-enter bonus for Diana, let's talk about how many level 0 distant enablers we have. We have 2 from Backstep here. Reposition, so we have 4, including those. Tactical Retreat, that's 8. This one also, under Current Vantage, that's 12. 4 from Weaving Mana Stream, so 16 enablers. Is that right? 2, 4, 8, 12, 16 enablers. So 16 ways of cleanly going to level 1 Diana with distant, because you almost assuredly want to go to Diana 1 while distant. Otherwise, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. 16's not a lot. I'd probably say 20 would be a number that I'd be a little bit more comfortable with. But I imagine that with things like Backup Charger, Frostborn Paladin, Crystalline Archer, that you could probably go level 0 just to filter your hand a little bit in order to get to the point where you can safely go into Diana 1. So kind of recapping what we've talked about so far, Etheric Calibration has plenty of targets to hit. It's got about 30 Aether Charge cards. Great number. Very frequently going to hit the Glimpse for and replace itself. Diana, 16 enablers to enable distant. Maybe on the low side. I like being 18 to 20 personally, so I'd maybe try and find a way to add in more backsteps or reposition. They're both essentially the same thing, considering reposition gives you floating memory, backstep replaces itself with a draw card. Maybe you go 3/3 instead of 2/2. It's one of the first pieces of critique that I would look at looking at this list. Following along, we'll go with Charge the Soul, deal 1 damage to target unit. Then you may load Charge the Soul into an Aetherwing weapon you control, class bonus floating memory. So it's basically a 1-cost fast speed, deal 2 damage floating memory post your attack. Not bad. You could do that pre-recollection, ping something, ping them, whether it's an ally that has 1 health or 1 health remaining, and then go in for 2. It's pretty versatile. I don't hate it. In fact, it's pretty good. Prudent Knock. Draw a card into your memory, then you may load Prudent Knock into an Aetherwing weapon you control. Not bad. 2-cost 1 damage. It's okay. Fast speed. I like fast speed, to be completely transparent. It replaces itself immediately. It's okay. I like that it says may. The reason why I say that is because in some situations you'll want to transition to level 1, and you will only have something like Prudent Knock to be able to play efficiently. And so you don't have to load it. You can just play it to replace itself. You'll have 3 cards in your memory to go to level 1. No big deal. Reposition, pretty simplistic. Floating memory replaces itself more times than not, and target unit becomes distant. We need enablers like that. Also, the art's pretty nice. Fracturize. Fracturize, definitely not bad. It's frequently will probably hit its own power cell from Backup Charger, potentially like other regalia that you don't necessarily need. It's a pretty flexible card. It's in almost every water deck, so I can't talk about it too much. Frostborn Paladin. Let's look at the float count for Frostborn Paladin. 4, 6, 10, 14, 18, 22. 22 float. That seems pretty sufficient for Frostborn Paladin and Crystalline Archer. Honestly, I like Crystalline Archer at 4, like maybe 3 or 4 copies of it. Crystalline Archer is kind of nuts, honestly. A 4/2 beater that replaces itself, or like eats a floating memory and replaces itself when you don't necessarily need floating. When I think of Crystalline Archer, I think of Frostborn Paladin. It's a little bit more fragile than Frostborn Paladin, obviously, but like the card's quite good. I like to see this card pretty frequently when playing Diana. So I would look at ways to potentially increase this. Like if you do increase the Crystalline Archer count, maybe instead of the 3 backstep, 3 reposition I was talking about, maybe 4 reposition, 2 backstep, just to increase your float count just a little bit more. Tactical Retreat, it has the added benefit of if that unit is defending in the combat phase. It doesn't come up super often, but target unit becomes distant and floating memory, not bad. When it does come up, it's an extra benefit. Undercurrent Vantage. I think this card's nuts. Glimpse 3, your champion becomes distant, floating memory. Pretty good. Like immediately replaces itself, smooths out your draws, and it kind of helps out with what we're going into with Aether Calling here shortly. Weaving Mana Stream. Another really strong Diana card. Champion becomes distant, floating memory. You're going to see a lot of the same theme in this deck. The cards replace themselves, period. Whenever this card is banished from your graveyard to pay for a memory cost, you may load it into an Aether Wing weapon you control. You fire it off, bam, you got floating memory again. Like, card's pretty good. The issue I have with this deck is it's kind of slow, to be completely transparent with you. It's like it's aiming to do like bursts of damage. Like every turn after you hit level 1, you're looking to do like 4 damage, and then hopefully when you get towards Diana Moonpiercer, you've got a little bit of disruption, you've got a little bit of protection, and you're still like bursting out bursts of 4 damage. Whereas a lot of the fire decks right now, they're just like, okay, 2 damage, 20 damage. Like, it's pretty nuts. Then moving into the advanced element cards, we've got Astrocyte. Glimpse 1 replaced itself. It will hit Aether Calling. Which is dope. I'm not sure if this is maybe the best card for this slot, to be honest with you. Maybe this is something that you can trim or cut on. Maybe I'm wrong. The chance of potentially hitting like another Astrocyte or an Aether Calling, like an Aether Charge, isn't so bad, and then it immediately replaces itself. I just feel like perhaps you could have more early game enablers instead of this. Constellation's Blessing, Aether Calling. This one deals 2 damage, which is pretty nice.
All I ever cared about were video games, and they've made me a millionaire. So maybe I don't know what the Civil War was.
So if you play it for 1 at fast speed, you're getting +2 damage, and it replaces itself. Dope. If you're Aether Calling it, it's +2 damage. Dope. Yo, what up, Crow? Thank you so much for the Prime. Oh my god. You're so cute. Overall, I think the card's pretty decent. 2 damage is nothing to scoff at, right? Against most level 3 decks, it's going to be like 1/15 of their health. It's going to be something along those lines. 1/13, 1/14, or 1/15 of their health. So, considering the chip damage, it's not so bad. Guided Starlight. Aether Calling. Your champion's next attack this turn gets unblockable unless an opponent pays 3. You may load Guided Starlight into the Aether Wing weapon you control. So this is kind of like the smoke bombs of the deck, which, I think that you have room somewhere in here for smoke bombs, to be completely transparent with you. I think that smoke bombs will be very beneficial for you since you're only running 2 Guided Starlight. Just to kind of help get around some of these crazy interceptors and taunts that are out there these days. Meteoric Volley. Activate this card only if your champion is attacking. For each Aether Charge card in the attacker's intent, create a copy of it in that attacker's intent. So basically, all of the Aether Charges under your weapon or loaded into your weapon, you're going to get a double. It's going to double them up. Pretty cool card. How good is it? I'm not sure just yet. Like it creates burst potential, and it's a game closer. Frequently, like it's not replacing itself. If something happens to your attack, like for example a Song of Frost or something, you just get blown out. It's a little bit sketchy considering you have very few negation. The only negation you have is on Diana Moonpiercer whenever you become distant. So you'll have to enable distant multiple times to protect yourself, in addition to Meteoric Volley, which is already a 3 cost. You're using 4 influenced in order to do that. Not impossible considering the amount of floating memory as well as draw in this deck. So you could have the influence for it. Fully understandable. Not a bad game closer, but at the same time, it relies on a lot. It relies on strong setup and strong protection. So I'm not a huge fan of it, but I can see the benefits to it. I would probably cut it, to be completely candid with you. I'm not a huge fan. Maybe trim it to 1. Since you have so much glimpse, you should theoretically be able to find at least the 1 copy of it. Let's see. Side Reel Spell Shot. Aether Calling, Glimpse X, then you may load side. So this is kind of like another Meteoric Volley, if you kind of think about it. With all of the Aether Calling you have in this deck, this is doubling up on Meteoric Volley. So for example, you're kind of going hands down an end step of your opponent, so that you could just say, hey, I'm going to during your prereq or during opponent's end step, I'm going to go hands down. I'm going to glimpse 10. I'm going to put 5 Aether charges into my Aether Wing. And I'm going to be swinging at you for 10 damage or something like that. It's kind of the same thing. They're both kind of win more, to be completely transparent with you. I would probably, you have 6 copies between this and Meteoric Volley. I'd probably cut this down to maybe 3, maybe 4 copies in total, depending on what you prefer between the two. Vanishing Eclipse. Aether Calling. Return target ally to the top of its owner's deck. Your champion becomes distant. So this doesn't get loaded into your Aether Wing if you play it normally. Only if you Aether Call it. So this kind of goes alongside your Guided Starlight to some degree, and in another way of trying to get around having a Smoke Bomb in your material deck. I mean, I don't hate it. I think it's pretty nice. It's fast speed. It can be quite versatile, to be completely transparent with you. Trying to think through some of the allies that would be prime targets. So you're probably just clearing the way for things against like Frostborn Paladins or anything really that has taunt or intercept. It's really awkward on the turns you're not looking for lethal though. So I can see this card being good. Again, I probably like having this card in conjunction with Smoke Bombs so that you can use both. So what would I do differently in this deck list? I would probably move Reposition and Crystalline Archer to 4. I'd probably cut on your Side Reel Spell Shots and your Meteoric Volleys. Cut those down just a little bit. And that's probably the first iteration of changes that I'd make. I'd try and maybe also add a Smoke Bombs in here somewhere. Wherever possible. I like Ranger Strides because you get a surprise like +4 damage, which could be very beneficial. Like banish QSG, blam. I've got Ranger Strides, draw a card, banish it to get +4. That's pretty decent. It's pretty decent. Or if you need a defensive mechanism, Radiant Vega, like it's not bad. It's not bad. I would probably, if I was to cut anything, I think if we're increasing your repositions, I'd probably get rid of Ranger Boots. It's really hard to get rid of one of these 2 Aether Wings. I think you need to have both. Even though they both have Spell Shroud, I think being able to attack 6 times is really important. So that's kind of the route that I would go. So I want to go ahead, take this into TTS, and just do a couple sample hands just to see how smooth it feels. Draw 7. Let's see. Okay, we've got plenty of enablers in order to smoothly get distant and go to level 1. Like, for example, we could just tactical... Oh my god, we could just tactical retreat, go to level 1, get rid of one of these two. No big deal. Like... Then we have got a floating memory, and we get a weapon out of it. Then pre-recollection, we could go ahead and play calibration, glimpse 4, set up our draw, and potentially replace itself. And we like set up a Frostborn Paladin here for our tactical retreat, which is really nice. Wait a second. What is happening here? I do not remember this being in the deck list. Timeout. No shot, right? No shot. Maybe the deck list changed. Let's try this again. Okay. Wait a second. Change charge? Oh, I think the owner of the deck list made changes to it. Oh well. We're gonna take a look and see how their changes have helped. You play this, you go level 1, you get distant, you can get your bow, but man, there's not a whole lot happening here after that. Like, you could backup charger and like, ooh, Frostborn Paladin's pretty nuts off the top. It's not very great that you have to get rid of your mana stream, but okay. I see the vision here. I see the vision. I wonder how many Crystalline Archers are in this list now. 4 Crystalline Archers. Oh, they've already made the change. I love that. Love that for us. Yeah, I mean, I think the deck list is pretty smooth with the amount of distant enablers you have to go level 1. I'd like to bump it up a little bit more. It looks like the owner of the deck list already increased the Crystalline Archer count to 4, which I think is the right call. They added some new tech in here, such as Change Charge. I'm not sure how much I like it. Like, it's Mana Tithe, essentially, right? Mana Tithe is kind of okay. A 2-cost Mana Tithe is that deals 1 damage is probably like borderline okay. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of it. Nevertheless, I think the deck is pretty close to quite playable. I think that it could be competitive with a little bit more burst. Things like the additions of Crystalline Archer and some more early game enablers and floating memory will definitely make the deck feel more bursty and have more potential.